Just as Paris Saint-Germain get their crowning moment in Europe, a few weeks later, the confirmation that we were dreading was going to happen has occurred. Olympique Lyon, one of the biggest clubs in France, 7-time champions of French football, have been relegated. It has not been because of their performances on the pitch. I think they finished about 7th place in Ligue 1 this season, but it is because of their financial mismanagement, their financial issues off of the pitch. Now, Lyon have said they are going to challenge this decision, but we know how strict the French football authorities are. Look at what happened to Bordeaux a couple seasons ago. They are down in the 4th tier of French football. They do not take any prisoners when it comes to this stuff. They are very serious about this kind of thing. But what has happened? What is going to happen from here? I got a full article on thefootballchronicle.com going into just that for you guys, because yeah, it's a sad situation, but I want to explain what has happened and where we kind of go from here. Will Lyon be able to remain in Ligue 1? Let's see. 7-time French champions Lyon have been relegated to Ligue 2 by the French Professional League LFP following a decision by the financial watchdog, the DNCG, citing the club's unstable financial position. The move, confirmed on Tuesday, is a major blow to the historic club, which is owned by American businessman John Textor. Lyon confirmed that it would immediately appeal the ruling. Olympique Lyon takes note of the incomprehensible decision handed down by the DNCG this evening and confirms that it will appeal immediately, the club said. We've demonstrated funds and sporting success that has earned us a place in European competition 2 years running. We sincerely fail to understand how an administrative decision could relegate such a great French club. The DNCG had initially imposed a provisional relegation in November 2024. I think that's meant to say, not 23, citing 175 million euros in debt and a lack of viable financial plan. The club was also subject to a transfer ban in January. So for those that don't know, basically in France, they are very, very strict on their football finances. For example, here in England with the Premier League, you don't have to submit anything like a financial plan, like a business plan to say that you're a sustainable enterprise. You just kind of need to have proof of funds and you just need to basically be good on the balance sheet. As long as you're not impacted with like financial fair play or profit and sustainability breaches, you'll be fine, no problem. But in France, even if you're incredibly financially stable, even if you literally have the state of Qatar backing you like Paris Saint-Germain do, you have to submit a business plan of how you are going to basically finance all of your operations. And when Lyon did that, the DNCG was just like, nah, this ain't sustainable. You got too much on the outs here and not enough on the ins. So that's why they provisionally relegated them and said basically, if you're not good by the end of the season, you're out. And according to them, they're not good by the end of the season, so they're out. The relegation comes just one day after Crystal Palace announced that New York Jets owner Woody Johnson had agreed to buy Textor's 43% stake in the Premier League club for around $254 million. Thanks to the equity contributions from our shareholders and the sale of Crystal Palace, our cash position has improved considerably and we have more than sufficient resources for the 25-26 season, the club added in its statement. Of course, Textor owns Lyon, so now he's basically got $250 million in his bank account that wasn't there before, so they have the funds, in their words, to be able to operate sustainably, but the DNCG does not agree. Earlier this year, the Eagle Football Group, which owns Lyon and several other clubs including Botafogo in Brazil and Molenbeek, disclosed debts totaling over $500 million. Textor's attempts to transfer funds from Botafogo to cover Lyon's debt were rejected by French regulators. Textor remained publicly optimistic on Tuesday ahead of the DNCG ruling. He said, and I quote, "You can see from the contributions of our shareholders we have invested new capital not only for the DNCG, but also for our UEFA licensing processes," he told reporters. Not to mention the good news of the sale of Crystal Palace, our liquidity situation has improved considerably. In recent weeks, Lyon has taken steps to reduce its debt load. The €42.5 million transfer of Ryan Cherky to Manchester City was completed earlier this month. However, it wasn't enough to sway the DNCG. 2 years ago, Lyon came under DNCG restrictions for wages and transfer spending. The league imposed a framework for wage costs and transfer indemnities. limiting their market activity. Lyon won 7 Ligue 1 titles in a row between 2002 and 2008 and reached the Champions League semi-finals in 2020. And were narrowly beaten by Manchester United in the 2025 Europa League quarter-finals. They finished 6th in Ligue 1 last season, narrowly missing out on Champions League qualification. The club has stated that it is confident that it can address the DNCG's concerns in the appeal and avoid demotion. So yeah, that is a huge bombshell of a decision. You know, the DNCG does not take any prisoners when it comes to this sort of stuff. It is extremely strict when it comes to the finances of French clubs. We'll have to see what happens, guys. I mean, they're going to have to prove that they can be sustainable for the long term, and they are very strict with that, the DNCG. So honestly, it would not surprise me at all if this decision stands. Now, you might well be wondering what is going to happen in terms of the Europa League, which they qualified for, and also in the French top flight as well. As I understand it, at the time of recording, their qualification for the Europa League is still there. So in theory, as things stand, they will be playing second tier football in France, but also playing in the Europa League as well. An absolutely bizarre situation. And they did that through their league standing. They finished in 6th this season, which is enough to qualify for the Europa League in Ligue 1. Now, in terms of the actual relegation from Ligue 1, what's going to happen in terms of a team coming up to replace them? Essentially, this would mean that Reims would be the team to replace them. Now, Reims, of course, were beaten in the relegation playoff final by Metz, who were in Ligue 2 last season. Metz are coming up anyway. Reims were going to be relegated via the relegation playoff because they lost that playoff, but now instead Reims will actually stay in Ligue 1. So yeah, it's a real sad state of affairs for Lyon. It really, really is. Our team this big can struggle like this, but it's all down to PSG. PSG are just killing French football. They really, really are. Yes, they put it on the map in terms of obviously, you know, winning the Champions League this season, but who actually cares about Ligue 1? Who watches Ligue 1? You know, PSG won the league by nearly 20 points this season. They almost went unbeaten throughout the entire campaign. So, yeah, crazy stuff, guys. But any kind of updates, I will bring you here on the channel. But honestly, I would expect Lyon's relegation to stand. I will be surprised if they manage to get themselves out of this. But I wish them all the best in their appeals. Like, share, comment, subscribe on the channel as always. Guys, if you want to see more like this, and have a fantastic day around the world today. And we'll see you soon.